This video is brought to you by my patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your generous support in funding this channel and keeping it up and running. Hey everybody, before we jump into the video, I want to do a quick reminder to let you guys know that I am doing a giveaway. If you want to win one of these 15 cards on Magic Online, make sure you go down to the description. You'll see a link how to enter in. Click that link and just write a comment with which card you hope to win in the giveaway. Once you do that, you'll be entered in, and I will try as much as possible to get everybody the card that they want if they happen to win. But I will be waiting until I get 30 people who have entered, and then I'll be doing the giveaway on an episode of the Blood Hall. So with that reminder out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gavony Township, the show where it's not about me and my decks, it is about you and your decks. Whether you're a content creator that I'm collaborating with, whether you're someone that's won one of my Facebook or Twitter giveaways, or whether you're a patron of mine at patreon.com. This is episode 46 of Gavony Township, playing Korvold Fae-Cursed King. This is a deck made by my Patreon, Dmany. So thank you so much to them for supporting the channel. Now looking at this opening hand here, we've got 2 lands, a Soul Ring, Command Tower, Springbloom Druid, Beast Within, Scapeshift. I think seems great. We're going to go ahead and keep this hand. I think what we'll do is we can go for the turn 1 Soul Ring. Well, we don't have to necessarily. We can go, so watch this. We can do this. Command Tower for turn 1. Turn 2, we get down the Forest, cast the Soul Ring, play the Springbloom Druid, go up our red source, and then from there we're good. We can actually play it on that Swamp. We don't really have anything that needs black mana just yet, so that's always an option as well. So we're playing Korvold Fae-Cursed King. Again, this is a deck made by Dmany, one of my patrons over at patreon.com/magicalhacker. And he, submitted this deck and now gets to get me to play this deck on the channel. Now, this is a very strong deck. I'll make sure that everybody's aware of this. When I hosted the game, I asked for the strongest decks that people had. So that's where we're seeing some pretty heavy hitters here. But that was all part of what Dmany told me. This is a strong deck, so if you want to ask for people to bring their strong decks too, that's going to be a great way for the decks to function. All right, so we draw into a Dark Ritual here. Without the green source, we're not going to be able to cast anything with that yet. So we'll wait on that, I think, a little bit later. Maybe we can go for that. Technically, we can go for that on turn 3 with getting our commander out there. But let's go ahead and start off with the Command Tower, and then we're just going to yield until our next upkeep. Not going to be doing anything, so we'll just use that mana like that. Yeah, I think this seems pretty good. Again, we might be a little worried if the Soul Ring were to get wheeled away, but I'm not thinking that's going to happen here early on. Nobody's playing a wheel deck, so we don't see like Niv Mizzet or the Locust God or Arjun or any of those other, wheel-based commanders. Nekusar, like, there's a bunch of wheel-based commanders. None of these are those, so I'm not worried about having that Soul Ring go away. So I think it's going to be much better for us to use it for that mana rather than play it out there and, somebody destroys it with like a Smelt or something. I don't want to see something like that happen. I'd like to use this Springbloom Druid to get out, sacrificing this Swamp. We can actually get out a Swamp and a Mountain. So I don't mind doing that here. I think that should be pretty good. We get an additional black source. Yeah, I think that's going to be fine. We'll have double mana of each of our colors, so we should be good from there. And on top of that, Springbloom Druid is a great card for us to sacrifice to Korvold because it's had its effect. We've also, if we have Korvold already out there, we've got Springbloom Druid able to sacrifice a land too. So really a lot of benefit here from using the Springbloom Druid in this deck. Although, talking to Dmany, and that's something I do with all my Patrons, like they'll talk to me about their decks, and I'm thinking about doing this, I'm thinking about doing that. What do you think? And I gave him my my opinion. Springbloom Druid, I don't mind dropping that one. I think this one's probably fair to drop. There is a lot of value you can use it for. So pre-Korvold or post-Korvold, both great times you can use it. But the rest of the deck seems just so good. Like that's the only thing I could see that I'd want to drop. All right, so we draw into another Swamp here. That makes me okay with sacrificing the Swamp. We can use this to get, I think we can get any two basics, yeah. So we're going to go and play out the Soul Ring, paying the mana here from the Swamp. And from there, we can go for the Springbloom Druid and get 2 basics. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Get 2 basics after sacrificing our Swamp here. And that should get us pretty close to being able to cast out the Korvold. We might not even need to use the Dark Ritual for now. I think we should be okay for quite a while. Now, we've got that Beast Within in hand. We can use that in order to get rid of some problematic permanent on the battlefield. We don't see anything just yet. We'll go ahead and grab a Mountain And we have the black source in hand. Let's go ahead and put a forest out on the battlefield too. If we need that triple green, we've got that ready as well. So we'll go ahead and play out the forest and the mountain. Okay, and, oh, I'm sorry. For up to 2 basic lands. There we go. Yeah, I was wondering what was happening there, but it's just a little slow. All right, so we've got our mana out here. Technically, even if our Springbloom Druid gets destroyed, we can't play a land for some reason. Like, we can still play out Korvold and sack a land. I mean, it's not amazing, but we can still do that. Other than that, though, I do think it would be great for us to go for Korvold, sacrificing the Springbloom Druid, going to go ahead and draw a card there. Now, will we have enough to go for the Escape Shift since we have the Dark Ritual? Let me kind of do some math here. We play the Swamp, go for Dark Ritual. We'd have to use 2 green mana for Escape Shift. So we need to have at least 3 mana here next turn. So that means we'll have to use the Forest. If we do it that way, then we'll not be able to use the Dark Ritual. So that's a bit of a problem here. We won't have the triple green if we want to go for Dark Ritual. So that's a bit of a problem. Let me see what else we can do. We can maybe go for Dark Ritual, get that out there. Let's say we draw into something. So what's the best way we can use our mana here? We probably want to use Dark Ritual. So we'll put down the Swamp, use that mana for Dark Ritual, have 3 mana that are black. We'll use the Soul Ring as well, and then the two basics here. So that means we'll have an untapped command tower and 2 black mana in the mana pool. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so even if we did have the other green source, we would still not have enough to go for 9 mana worth of stuff here. Now, if we happen to draw into a mana crypt, that could change things for us, but I don't think it will change things for us in terms of the colors. Do we decide to wait a turn in order to go for Escape Shift on the same turn as Korvold? You know, I don't think that's too bad of an idea, especially with the fact that we can... they've got an Amulet of Vigor. Especially with the fact that we can get even more land sacrificed from the Escape Shift as well. Yeah, if we play down the Forest here, we'll have the triple green. And then we can go for the Swamp next turn. We'll have the mana. We'll have enough mana. We can use Bedevil here if something happens. Yeah, let's just do that. I know it's kind of a weird play here, but let's go ahead and play it on the Swamp. That way we can hold up Bedevil as well. We need to have the double black for that. So we can hold up literally both the Bedevil here from 1, 2, and 3. And we've got the mana for Beast Within 2. So we've got 6 mana total. We can use both of our answers if we need to. I think we're just going to wait here, see if anybody gets anything out that's super scary. But for right now, I think this is going to be okay. We're holding up ways to destroy any permanent, and then here, destroy any artifact, creature, or planeswalker. So I don't think this Soul Ring is too scary just yet. Same thing here with the Oracle of Moldiah. I know both of those are pretty good value permanents, and they're playing Kenrith, which can be a very strong deck indeed. But, you know, I want to save my answers for cards that are going to be more problematic, you know, that they're going to help them win the game immediately. These are just really going to help them put forward more value, which is fine, but not like super worth using our answers on that. They're going to go for a Vampiric Tutor here at the end step of Zabuza's turn. And I wonder what they're going to find. Now, they won't reveal it for sure because it's a Vampiric Tutor. Next turn, I mean, it could be a Soul Ring here. Usually, if there's an early tutor, that's usually what's being used on, is getting a Soul Ring, trying to ramp out with something that many people would consider better than a Mox in Commander. Yeah, I definitely consider Soul Ring better than any of the Mox in. Like, if I had to choose Soul Ring or any Mox that I chose and they were the same price, you know, obviously, I'm going to be going with the Soul Ring. The Moxes are great, but Soul Ring is just so good. You get you basically get the same net amount of mana the turn it comes down, but then every turn after that you're just generating more mana with Soul Ring, strictly more mana. So yeah, Soul Ring in a lot of ways, yeah, like I said, I think it's better than the Moxin. I don't know why though. If this was printed back in Alpha, why was this not as heavily played as the Moxin, and you know, leading to it being considered one of the Power 9? I don't know. Who knows? Luminarch Ascension coming down. This one I don't mind maybe using the Beast Within on. But at the same time, you know, I do like them getting a bit of a more, like a threatening board. Maybe just like 2 Angels and then destroy the Luminarch Ascension. That way with those 2 Angels, they can start putting pressure on some opponents. Like, we're not super scary, I think, here, especially against the Kinnan and against the Kenrith. I mean, Korvold's pretty, I don't know, it is kind of tough here. Normally, yeah, we're not a big threat, but with Korvold, we might actually be the threat at the table. So we might need to get rid of that Luminarch Ascension here at the end step of Mezzi's turn. We've talked about our commander. Let's go ahead and read it off. Korvold, Fae-Cursed King, 5 mana for a legendary 4/4 Dragon Noble with flying that says, Whenever Korvold Fae-Cursed King enters the battlefield or attacks, sacrifice another permanent. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a +++ counter on Korvold and draw a card. So Korvold can get pretty big and in the air, can become a really big commander in the air, and then we can also draw a bunch of cards for sacrificing things. We get also a way to sacrifice things for free with the ETB and with the attack trigger from Korvold, which a lot of people might consider a downside. I think it might actually be an upside here in this deck. So we've got the 6 mana. Omnath, Locus of Mana is coming down for Mezzy. I'm not worried about that either. That's fine. They can get some untapped green mana. Yeah, this is not too scary. So right now we are seeing some scary decks. Nothing CEDH yet though. I mean, we haven't seen enough from Kinnan to know, but maybe this is like maybe this is a CEDH deck here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and keep going through our turns. What else do we want to do? That's the big question here. Very, very big question. We can use that Beast Within on the Luminarch Ascension, although them having it out there, they've got no blockers. Looks like the Oracle is not going to want to get rid of the Luminarch. We can attack with the Springbloom Druid next turn and then go for sacrificing our commander. Not a bad idea. Yeah, so they decided not to attack here, which is kind of weird. They only have 2 mana open. Like, I guess maybe they're worried about the Oracle of Moldiah dying to something in combat, but really, if they've got it, they've got it. They're probably going to use it on the Oracle of Moldiah anyways. All right, here at the end step, I think we're not going to get rid of this or the Oracle or really anything else. I think we're okay for right now. We're just going to go to our turn and do our Korvold game plan after we attack with the Springbloom Druid. I think that's going to be pretty important here. We attack with the Springbloom Druid, and that allows us to prevent the Luminarch Ascension from getting 1 extra card. We're going to go ahead and play it on the 3rd green source because we do need that for our turn here. And let's go ahead and we will attack with our Springbloom Druid, making sure that we can deal damage to Ice Scoop. If they decide to, like, destroy it, I mean, first of all, that's amazing. Like, I am A-okay with that. Them using up a spot removal spell in order to destroy a 1/1 that basically is not doing anything else for us. That's fine with me. That's A-okay. But if they don't do that, then obviously we're just going to go for the Dark Ritual Korvold Scapeshift plan. Draw a bunch of cards from that. Should be pretty good. Okay, so dealing the 1 damage here, they're down to 38. And I guess from the damage here now down to 37. So that Luminarch Ascension is not going to get a counter, not on our turn. Not on our turn. All right, so here at the main phase, let's go ahead and play out the Dark Ritual for 1 black mana. We want to make sure that we're leaving up 2 green sources here. We're going to have the black, we're going to have the red. We can tap one of them for Korvold, but we want to make sure that we have the rest of it untapped as much as possible. So we're going to go ahead and play out Korvold here. Cast that one. Now, someone might have a counter spell. Obviously, Zabuza doesn't have the blue mana just yet, but Ice Scoop definitely does. So they could be going for that. Actually, do they have the blue mana? No, they don't have the double blue mana from the Felwar Stone. None of us are actually playing a way to generate blue mana just yet. So, yeah, this is actually going to be pretty good. We can get this down. We've got the Scapeshift as our next play for this turn. It's going to come down. We're going to sacrifice the Springbloom Druid. We might actually draw something better than a Scapeshift, although that's asking for a lot. We're going to go ahead and sacrifice the Springbloom Druid. Draw a card off of that. We're going to say always yield to that ability. The reason I didn't auto-yield to the attack ability because we might actually want to do some things in response at some point. So we drew into the Mana Vault. I don't know if we'll actually be able to use that here. Because we need to have the double green. Like, we can get it down, but we'll have to tap it. And we'll have 2 colorless mana left over. Or really, we can have one colorless and 1 black. But what are we going to do with that? We don't have anything in our hand that we want to use that on. I think we're just going to wait on the Mana Vault ability. We're going to use that in a turn where we can generate some value off of it. I think right now, it's a little bit too risky. Maybe there's plenty of ways that we can use 1 colorless and 1 black. But, I'm just not going to risk it here. I'm just going to go for the Scapeshift, sacrificing all of these lands. So we're going to draw 5 cards here, go up to, I believe it's up to 9 cards in the hand. And we've got a lot of good cards already in the hand. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and grab any lands that we want. So let's go ahead and grab, Lotus Field sounds pretty good. We actually get to draw extra cards off of that. I don't know if that's necessary, though. That might not be necessary. We can play down the Valakut. So Valakut here we can use to just get rid of some, we can get rid of some of these elves here. That sounds pretty nice. We need to have a total of 5 mountains with that, right? 5 other mountains. So, yeah, we're only getting 5 lands here, so the Valakut plan is not going to be great. What else can we do here? We can go for Urborg. We do not... Do we have the Cabal Coffers? We do not. What else could we do? We could go with the Phyrexian Tower. We could get a bunch of fetch lands, and that allows us to draw more cards. You know what? I kind of like that. We will be losing life for that, but you know what? Let's go for it. Wooded Foothills, Verdant Catacombs, and Smoldering Marsh are the obvious ones here from the beginning. So we'll go for those first. Third one here. I think I want to keep going for more of the modern ones. So let's go ahead and go for the Polluted Delta. And let's go Marsh Flats as well. Yeah, let's go for it that way. So we can get a bunch of lands here. Now, I don't know if we'll get them untapped. I'm pretty sure we won't. I think we get them tapped here onto the battlefield. But we do get to draw 5 cards here. Having those 5 tapped fetch lands means that with the Korvold, if we can get that out here, or if we can keep it out rather, then what we can do is have our commander. Yeah, so we had the Diabolic Intent. I don't know if I actually want to cast that here. Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to cast that at the moment. So why don't we do this? We'll discard the Forest. Ghost Quarter, I don't think is too necessary right now. Let's go ahead and get rid of that one too. And Veil of Summer is fantastic. Yeah, then we'll just discard those 2 lands and keep everything else in the hand. Yeah, so this is pretty good. We've got a flying 10/10 on the battlefield. Let's see if we need to use that. I mean, all right, Thought Vessel coming down for Zabuza. This is not too problematic. This is during their main phase, so they're going to have no maximum hand size. Still no blue mana, though. They have plenty of mana here, though, that is green. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, nothing that they want to cast for 5 mana. Pretty surprising for me. They've got 4 cards in hand. Still no blue mana to cast their Kinnan Bonder Prodigy. So, yeah, it's a little weird, but, yeah, this is fine with us. I'm okay with one of my opponents kind of taking a step back early on in the game where there's not really someone clearly ahead and clearly the threat. I mean, right now it is us, let's be honest. But, yeah, for right now, I think we're okay. Now, Korvold, I think, is very likely to go away here. And if that's the case, then, you know, so be it. If someone has spot removal for Korvold. Let's see, what do I do here? I mean, if everybody's worried about Korvold attacking them, I can just tell somebody who I'm attacking and then hope that they don't have spot removal for it. Most people are playing it at instant speed, and Korvold's kind of a value engine, so they want to get rid of it no matter who it's attacking. Yeah, I mean, it's tough here. I think everybody wants to get the Korvold off the battlefield. This might be what Ice Cube's doing. Nope, they're just going to go for the Golos. If they find a Mazavith here, I'm going to really regret, you know, ditching that Ghost Quarter, because that would have been fantastic here. Although, with the Sylvan Safekeeper, if they do have the Mazavith and I do want to attack them, I can always just give Korvold Shroud in response. That's probably okay. We might even be able to use the Diabolic Intent with another creature. We don't have one yet, but maybe eventually we can get another creature and use that to our advantage. Yeah, I don't know. They're going to go ahead and get... oh, they did get a tapped Maze of Ith. So for right now, they're okay. Let's see what Mezzy's going to do. Now, I could tell Mezzy, look, I'm going to be attacking Ice Cube. I'm going to try to, you know, get them out of the game. But maybe they're still worried about the Korvold giving us basically 5 extra cards on our next turn. Not to mention, we've got the Soul Ring out there. So that's at least 7 mana. They don't see that we're going to have 8, 9, 10 mana next turn. So yeah, I can definitely see them wanting to get rid of the Korvold pretty soon here. I think what we're going to do is we're going to sacrifice the Marsh Flats and the Polluted Delta. And then from there, we're going to see what we want to use the 3 Jund fetch lands on. Alright, so they're going to get down the Amulet of Vigor. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, so we have one of the shock lands in our hand, so we might have to use these on basics, unfortunately. But that's fine too. You know, I'm never upset about having basics. Those are always good. So let's see what happens here. Now, the downside about the Polluted Delta, yeah, still no attack from them. They are completely wide open. Well, not completely, but they could tap for 3 green mana, turn this into a 4/4, and that being blocked by Golos would be pretty bad. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get to our next turn, somehow still having the Korvold around. So we're going to go ahead and draw a card for a turn. We've drawn to the Cinder Glade, so that one requires us to have basics. Let's go ahead and start off by sacrificing the Polluted Delta. Start off with that. Sacrifice the Polluted Delta. We're going to grab some black land, probably a shock land, and shock ourselves. I don't know if we've got the original duels in here. Probably not. We draw into a Court of Calling, which is not too bad at all. I'll have to take a look at the deck and see if there's something I want to grab with the Court of Calling right now. Alright, so we've got 4 lands that we can grab. We've got the Bayou there and the Badlands. Let's go and grab the Bayou now. We'll grab the Badlands with the Marsh Flats. So grab the Bayou with the Marsh Flats. And then from there, we can use the Wooded Foothills. We draw into a Gitrog monster. I'm a little tempted right now to go for the Gitrog monster to draw even more cards. We can play out the Mana Vault, and yeah, I think this is going to be pretty good. Let's go ahead and grab the bad lands here. We're going to have black and green. I say let's go for it. Tap the Soul Ring, play out Mana Vault for 1 mana. We still have our land drop for turn, so we don't have to go for that right away. We can tap the Mana Vault, and we'll have 1 colorless mana floating, and I'm sure we're going to use it. Looks like Mezzy might be doing something in response here. What do they want to go for in response? Oh, they're just going to tap out. Okay, and that's fine. They've got the Omnath Locust here getting turned into a 4/4. All right, so we're going to have the Mana Vault come down. We'll tap that for 3 mana. Let's go ahead and use the Gitrog monster. So we'll pay 3 mana here. We'll pay a black mana from the Badlands, green mana from the Bayou. Get that down. And that way, once that resolves, we're actually drawing 2 cards from each of these sacrifices. So let's go ahead and do that here. Oops, not going to be using that. We're going to go ahead and sacrifice the Wooded Foothills. We grabbed a Smoldering Marsh. Did I do that on purpose? I don't know what happened here. We have a Smoldering Marsh untapped. I don't know how that happened, but we got it. All right. We're going to go ahead and have the Korvold Fae-Cursed King here on the battlefield. Yeah, how did I get that Smoldering Marsh? Did I literally just forget that I got that? I have no idea. 2 or more basic lands. Oh, you know what? I must have accidentally hit that when I wanted to grab a fetch land by mistake. Well, that's unfortunate, but you know what? That's okay. We're all right with that as well. I mean, we're going to have the extra mana here. We can draw 2 cards here. Exploration and the Elf seems good to me. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use this. I want to use it to grab a green source. Probably going to be grabbing the Taiga here. Let's go ahead and grab Taiga. Yeah, that sounds good with me. We can go ahead and get down the Exploration, and that basically pays for itself since we've got 2 lands in the hand. But that means we need to have 2 basics, right? Yeah, we have to have 2 basics, otherwise it does not pay for itself. I do like holding up the Veil of Summer. We're already up to a 13-13 with the Korvold. Let's go ahead and sacrifice the Verdant Catacombs before we decide to do anything else. I think that's going to be most helpful for us because, you know what, we might even draw into more lands. And then we don't have to worry about the Cinderglade entering in tapped. Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty good. Now we're going to go ahead and we draw into a Fabled Passage. So that one is fantastic. That does mean we'll have the basics here that we can get down the Cinderglade, no problem. If we use this Verdant Catacombs to grab a basic forest. Let me see the Fabled Passage. Put it on the battlefield tapped. If you control 4 or more lands, untap the land. Oh yeah, for sure we're going to be good. Let's go ahead and grab the basic forest here. I'm going to open this so I don't misclick this time. Grab the basic forest. Put that onto the battlefield. We will go ahead and, yeah, we're up to 14-14 now. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's play down the Fabled Passage. Fabled Passage down. We'll use this to grab, I think, a mountain here. And then we can go for the... Well, I mean, even now, we're drawing even more cards. So maybe with the Exploration, we can find yet another fetch land. That could be beneficial to us here. We find Splendid Reclamation. So I know what we're going to do. I know what we're going to do here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and Fabled Passage. We're going to go ahead and let that resolve. All right, yeah, so this is about to be pretty gross. We're going to grab that last basic from our deck. Okay, so we've got 5 mana in the mana pool. We can play it on the Exploration and our 2 lands, and still have enough up for the Splendid Reclamation. We also have enough mana for the Arcane Signet and for the Llanowar Elves, although I think I want to wait to play the Llanowar Elves last because we might need to use it on the Veil of Summer here. Because you never know. Someone might have Zabuza here could have Force of Will. So let's go ahead and do this way. We'll go ahead and play it on the Exploration. Get that down. We will play our 2 lands after that. And so, yeah, even now, yeah. So we're good. We're going to go and play down our 2 lands. So land number 1. And I guess we technically shock ourselves here with the Stomping Grounds. I'm going to say yeah. We will definitely pay the 2 life here for the Stomping Ground. Is there anything else we'd like to do? Technically, we can use the Sylvan Safekeeper, sacrifice all of those lands, draw even more cards with Korvold, and then go for the Splendid Reclamation. And you know what? That sounds pretty good to me. Let's go ahead and do that. We've got the green mana also for the Veil of Summer held up too. If we go and you know get another green mana here, we are good to go. We need to have 3 total greens, so we want to only use green. Oops. Oh, I was worried that I cast the Splendid Reclamation. All right, so we're okay here. We're gonna go tap this for red. And I guess we tap this for red as well. Well, we don't have anything else that needs red, so we're going to tap it for black. Okay, so we're locked in. We don't have to worry about that anymore. So let's go ahead and, you know what, since it's going to get Shroud, we've got to do it in response over and over. So we're going to hold control. Let's go ahead and target our Korvold. So target that, and we're going to sacrifice a land. Draw 2 cards, and we'll put, well, hold on. Yeah, we still want to hold control. We're going to go for the Korvold here, put that onto the stack. And, you know what? Yeah, so we'll go ahead and draw 2 cards. That's fine. We'll go ahead and sacrifice a land here. Sacrifice, choosing the Korvold again. Sacrificing the Bayou. And what we'll do here at the very end is we'll allow our Gitrog monster and our Fae-Cursed King to actually get Shroud. So I think this should work here. We don't actually have to hold control anymore, because the fact that things are responding to it allows us to have priority before it resolves, even if we're not holding priority. All right, and we also have the Pyroblast, rather. So with that in hand, we've got another answer to the Veil, like what we need to use the Veil of Summer for. We've got Cool the Weak here, Cooling the Weak. So we can use this to give Shroud, or we can use this to get even more mana from sacrificing the Sylvan Safekeeper. That might be good. This is whenever a swamp enters. I don't think we're going to have enough mana to cast this and the Sylvan Reclamation. I don't think so. Yeah, it doesn't look like we do. That'd be great, but, well, actually, hold on a second. Is this an instant? Yeah, this is an instant. So we actually will. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. We go for that. I'm sure a lot of swamps will be entering the battlefield as a result. We can use that to either draw cards and lose life, although I do like the idea of dealing damage to our opponents with that. So we might go for that instead. All right, so let's go ahead and keep targeting our Korvold here, sacrificing a land. Okay, we'll put those triggers to the stack. Yeah, we're already down to 57 cards in the library, so you can see that this is a very, very intense game. We draw into the Worldly Tutor. We draw also into the Elves of Deep Shadow. We could use that Worldly Tutor here, but I want to make sure that I'm using green mana for Veil of Summer, or holding, rather, green mana for Veil of Summer and the Sylvan Reclamation. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and target the Korvold again. And it looks like Zabuza here scoops it up. We're going to go ahead and put this to the stack. That's fine. I mean, they were kind of lost on the blue mana here. And it might just be game over no matter what. Let me go ahead and move this stack here out of the way. Let's keep targeting Korvold here until we've got pretty much no lands left over. And then from here, we can go ahead and give Shroud to the Gitrog monster as well. Now, it is nice to be able to wait here. So let's do this. Let's allow one of these to resolve. See if anybody wants to do anything. Then we'll use the ability here, giving Shroud to the Gitrog monster, sacrificing the Stomping Ground, and then we can keep responding to that. Actually, you know what? Let's let this resolve too. We can use this to give Sylvan Safekeeper Shroud. So we're going to go ahead and target... well, actually, hold on. Let me do this. Cancel, and I'll press OK, allowing ourselves to get Shroud to the Gitrog monster. And now we're going to target our Sylvan Safekeeper, sacrificing the Forest, still again triggering both of our creatures. Our Korvold, by the way, is now lethal commander damage, so we might be using that, I guess, technically on Ice Scoob, since they've got the Maze of Ith out there. Then we'll go ahead and sacrifice the last land, choosing our Sylvan Safekeeper, sacrificing the Forest here, and then we'll use the Cooling the Weak. And let me see what else we've drawn into here. We've drawn into the Phyrexian Altar, we've drawn into Harrow, Excavator, Sabertooth, we've drawn into Kessig Wolfrun. Yeah, a lot of cards here that are great, but I don't think it's going to be very helpful for us right now. I guess the Demonic Tutor is not too bad either. Let's go ahead and use the Cooling the Weak. We're going to go ahead and sacrifice our Sylvan Safekeeper here. So get that into the graveyard, get some extra mana. We drew into a Rift Sweeper. Okay, we'll always always yield to this ability from the Sylvan Safekeeper now. Adding the 4 black mana. So once all this resolves, we'll go ahead and play down the Dread Presence. And let me see, who's at our lower life total? Scoob is. So what we'll do is this. We'll use the Dread Presence. We'll cast that down. We'll play it for 1 here from the colorless mana. Let me just do it one more time. Colorless mana here, okay. And what else do we want to cast on this turn? So we've got 2 mana left to pay. We have exactly 4 mana left over, so it doesn't matter. We can use both of the. We can use 2 black mana here, and we're gonna have just enough to go for the Reclamation here. And I think that's the way to do it. So let's go ahead and get down the Phyrexian Reclamation, right? Is that what it's called? Splendid Reclamation. Sorry. Same difference. In my mind, it's the same difference. we'll go ahead and get the Splendid Reclamation, returning all the lands from the graveyard to the battlefield. That's going to trigger Dread Presence a bunch of times. Would I like to pay 2 life? No, because everything's entering tapped anyways. So we're going to go ahead and get all these onto the battlefield. Some of these are not actually lands because we don't have any more targets in our deck to grab with them. We're going to go ahead. Yeah, since we only have 10 damage here, let's use that. Well, it looks like Ice Scoop actually scoobs it up. We're going to go ahead and send all this here to deal 2 damage to Mezzy. It doesn't really matter, though. We are gaining life, which is nice, but it doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and win here with combat damage. And it looks like, yeah, maybe, as weird as it sounds, maybe Mezzy has a way to win here. But, you know, when we've got all these lands, we've got lethal commander damage on one of these. Like, 1 player was going to die this turn. 2 players being able to stop us with all this advantage, not super likely, I think. We're going to save the targets, and we're going to always yield to this ability. And then we're going to go to combat. We'll attack with our 24/24 in the air, and that will be it. I mean, technically, this 3 mana could represent a plummet. I mean, not super heavily played in Commander, but it's always an option. So we're going to go ahead and, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and begin combat. Attack with our Korvold, attacking over at Mezzy, playing the Kenrith the Returned King. We didn't even get the chance to read off the commanders because we're winning here on turn 5. So, what do we want to sacrifice? I think we're going to sacrifice the Explorer. Oh, no, the Mana Vault. We don't need this anymore. Yeah, Mana Vault going away. Not a problem here. Down to 44 cards in the library, and we got a lot of things here. Thankfully, this is going to be game over for our opponents. With so many cards in our hand, so many lands on the battlefield, yeah, I can definitely understand why they decided to scoop it up here. Not much that people can do. So we'll go ahead and win the game. So thank you so much to Dmany and all my patrons who have submitted their decks to you know, either have me do a deck doctor on them or do a deck gameplay. If you want to have your deck showcased here on the channel and, you know, inadvertently, well, not inadvertently, but in addition, you can also have it on the front page of edhrec.com. Make sure you check over at Magical Hacker's Patreon account, which is patreon.com/magicalhacker. Take a look at all the tiers. You can see what those do, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time. Stay awesome, everybody.